Hey, what is going on YouTube? It's Blue, and we are back with another video. Now, I know I usually don't cover Mistweaver stuff, but I want to introduce you guys, and if you already know about it, you know it is dope. Introduce you guys to one of my favorite specs, one of my favorite things to play on beta, DragonFlight currently. Now, if you already play Mistweaver, or what I like to call Kickweaver, you guys, I think you guys can probably find some information in this video that you will like. Generally, I find that I nerd out a little bit too much on numerical things and stats and stuff like that, and because of which, I feel like I bring some content that hopefully brings something to the table that you never thought about before. So even if you're an experienced Mistweaver, and you like the kick weaving state playstyle, hopefully something's here for you. But if not, you guys, try out, level up a monk right now, and prepare to really enjoy yourself. So let's go ahead and do this PowerPoint style. Let me tell you about the monk. So Mistweavers have huge utility that they're bringing to Mythic Plus environments. They have interrupts, Mystic Touch, you have the rings. Now you can have avoidance. I personally don't spec into the other ones, but we can also spec into increasing our speed, getting also our team leech, which is cool. We have leg sweep. You can also talent into paralysis. I like these two. Great CCs. I found especially in the dungeons currently, this paralysis is very, very important. There's a lot of ranged units that have trouble getting into the poles, so definitely I picked that one up. So if you've never played this before, it's a very simple play style. It's really fun. I would say, especially if you're a DPSer and you kind of want to move your way into healing, you are going to love the monk. So it's a really fun, non-traditional healer. You spend a lot less time than other healers clicking your spells, and that's really great. Instead, what you're going to do, and this is kind of what I do, and if you have a DPS mindset, you're going to be great at this, but basically, you're just going to be like, to be successful at the monk, you're like, how can I do more damage? And then, like, just naturally, that damage is converted into healing, and that's what's really fun about the monk, and you'll be really successful. Moving into Dragonflight, Vivify is extremely, extremely strong and instant, which makes the monk really, really fun, and it's really great for the fist weaving playstyle or the kick weaving playstyle, because it's a lot less time casting, which we really don't want to do. And then if you're new, melee kick weaving, it doesn't really consume mana, so that's another non-traditional healer that we don't really have to worry about. So weakness, extremely dependent on being able to be in melee. So with this video, we're going to be investing talents, we're going to be investing stats for this specific play style. So if you ever get kicked or pushed out of melee because of the mechanics or whatever, it does feel a little bit hindering, and you kind of become this little catch-up healer, which I like to think, where it's just like damage is coming in and you can't heal fast enough. That's because your kit is mainly focused on you being in melee. Another weakness is the majority of our healing is on a 20-yard radius. I don't know if this is going to be an issue because of the new invokers. I believe that invoker healers have like a 25 range. So with that said, and if they're going to keep it that way, you may have a thing where range players just out of habit start coming closer and closer in, which would be beneficial also to the monk playstyle. Now, our spread healing can be more difficult to pull off if our CDs are down. So if Revival and Crane are down, spread healing without CDs will very much require you again to be in melee, which is going to be consisting of getting those stacks of Renewing Mist to 5 members and spamming those Vivifies. So it shouldn't be too much trouble because our Vivifies are really strong, but that can be a little bit difficult and kind of a weakness to do. Faeline Stomp. When this was originally came out, I was really excited for it. I think the community had some takes that they didn't like it. You guys, this is huge. This Faeline Stomp is absolutely huge. If you're not familiar with Monk or the fist weaving playstyle, kick weaving playstyle, Monk is very strong, a strong healer for boss fights, okay? The Monk has a single target kick rotation, or DPS rotation, I mean. Its DPS consists of kicking, but it has a single target DPS rotation for basically a single boss, and then you move that single target DPS rotation over for AoE as well, okay? So it lacks AoE healing, and the thing about that, so for one boss, basically, that rotation is good enough. But once you start pulling huge pulls and then you get huge spikes of damage, it can't reliably heal through those spikes with the kicks, okay? But Faeline changes that. It makes our kicks AoE. And that's it. We're investing 3 points, very much worth it, extremely worth it, and it makes our kicks AoE. It makes our single target rotation cleave. It's amazing. And that is going to result in huge burst healing. So it gives the monk a strong small pack rotation. Blackout kicks stack faster and also cleave, which is resulting in huge burst healing on all pack sizes. Monk now also has the ability to heal just off spinning for larger packs of pulls without having to use bird. So yes, that was a capability before. If we use birds, now we don't need to. We can Faeline Stomp for every single pack. And if you want to spin, you can just spin heal. So that is really great. And then blackout kicks now reset rising kicks at a much higher percentage. And on AoE, rising kick is almost consistently reset after every 2 stack of blackout kick cleaving, which is really great. Now the thing you're going to notice when you're in Dragonflight though is Faeline Stomp, it does minimal, basically nothing to your single target. Again, this is filling. This is a band-aid to our AoE that I was talking about. So please understand that, yes, Faeline Stomp is not going to do a lot for your single target. What it does do for your single target is, hey, when you're doing your blackout kicks, your stacks of blackout kicks, it's going to have a smaller percentage, a little bit greater percentage to reset, but it's not like the reset of the blackout kicks cleaving ads. If those ads aren't around, it's not going to be as noticeable, but still really, really great. I love that ability. So I do want to talk about stats. So a little bit about me is I love the kick weaving play style. I try to make it as how do I say this? Basically as make it actually happen in dungeons. The way that it works in current retail is, yes, you can play kick weaving in dungeons, but once those spike damage comes in, you're no longer kick weaving. You got to heal up your team through different sources of healing, and usually your spells. So I wanted to make it as reliable as possible, and I do that through stats. So I know it's not meta, but on retail, I actually value versatility and then crit. And that is going to make your kicks basically punch harder, heal harder, okay? But now in Dragonflight, with the kit being a lot more tuned and a lot more capable of healing just through kicks, you are going to want to invest in these stats. So with Dragonflight, the Mistweaver Monk has the potential to truly be a full combat healer because we can reliably heal through our damage. We want to prioritize our stats that will assist with making our damage spells hit harder. So currently, versatility will scale your abilities higher than intellect, so that's why we value it so high. So we want to focus on that. Crit is my second most valuable stat because it also is the best way to scale our damage once we have enough verse and our attacks start hitting harder. So in retail, I get to the point where it's like, hey, when do I want to switch and go more crit versus versatility? And that's basically when you're happy with the damage of your spells. You're going to look at your spells and be like, wow, my kicks are hitting pretty hard. Maybe now I want to put more value on crit. So for me, those can flip-flop. For you, they may flip-flop. You may value crit more than versatility. For me, I want those kicks to hit. And then once they hit, I want them to crit. And then intellect, gear is important, but I actually really like tuning myself to be just full crit and verse gear and just make some crazy magic happen with that. So let's go over the other secondary stats. So you tend to have to dump a lot of stats into haste to see any results as far as cooldown reductions on your attacks. So I tend to stay away from that. Plus, in AoE, resetting your rising kicks is much more reliable in Dragonflight. So we really don't want to waste our stats into haste because you're only going to see effects in single target, if that. Because again, you have to dump so many stats in that. Last, mastery does little here as well because we're not going to be casting a lot. We're just not casting a lot. So also, by stacking versatility, you're going to be getting increases of our Gust of Mist anyhow. So we can still get somewhat high of a Gust of Mist without even touching our mastery. So that's really nice. And then the crit's also going to assist with that. So rotation. I think people misunderstand Faeline, and I want to go over rotation. So you still want to pre-pull with Essence Fonts. Now, the reasons you do this is Faeline bolts occasionally will miss range. And when I mean occasionally, I mean very much. It feels like, and I know Faeline is supposed to hit people with bolts, but it seems like it does it in a directionary path. So wherever I directionary hit Faeline, that's where the bolts are going to go. And normally, your range is behind you in pulls, and you're going to Faeline in front of you. You do want to pre-pull with Essence Font all the time. And the thing about it is you will see Faeline is just unreliable, okay? Now we're going to Faeline. You're going to be getting resets of your Faeline. The way I want you to think about your Faeline Stomp is utility. What does Faeline allow me to do? It allows me to cleave. Okay, do I need to adjust my, did the tank pulling the units? Do I need to adjust my Faeline, then recast it? But don't spam it when it's constantly resetting itself, because the damage and healing really isn't there. You're just using it for utility. After we Faeline Stomp, we're going to go ahead and spin, and that's because we want to Mystic Touch everybody. At this point, you can go ahead and go into your rotation, so if you want, you can pop CDs. In AoE packs, I find myself not even popping CDs, actually, other than T, but the options are there. You can Crane, you can White Tiger for optional DPS, but again, I usually save those for single target now. And then what we do is we Rising Kicks whenever it's off cooldown, and then you one Tiger Palm, which is going to give you 2 stacks of Blackout Kick, and then you cleave and you repeat that, this basically right here. This, you just repeat. If you need to adjust your Faeline, you adjust your Faeline, and then you repeat Rising Kicks off cooldown, 1 Tiger Palm to give you 2 stacks of Blackout Kick, and then you cleave. Really great. Now, as far as spinning kick, you guys, some of you are going to be thinking, hey, well, spinning kick heals in Faeline. Yes, it does, but spinning kick is not very strong compared to 2 stacks of Rising Kick cleaving 3 units. Okay, so we're talking about 6 Rising Kicks basically off 2 buttons, right? 2 buttons and we get 6 Rising Kicks. That is a lot of freaking damage, you guys. I've tested it out, and I'm going to wait maybe to post another video when it gets closer to the actual release, when maybe numbers changed. But right now, I actually don't see myself spinning at all because Rising Kick rotation is so strong. I don't see myself spinning other than to apply Mystic Touch. Talents worth mentioning, and these are the combos, baby. Now, I'm going to show you guys my talents after this video. I am a little bit kind of questionable about doing that because it is so fun for you guys to pick the talents, okay? It is a lot of fun. I want you guys to dive into them. I've seen a lot of people running different things, and that's up to you, so I don't want to make up your mind. But let me tell you about some of the combos that are really awesome. Rapid Diffusion. Rising Kick applies 6 seconds of Renewing Mist. Okay, great. These are great for stacking on our team, and then we can get those huge Vivifies out. Dancing Mist. Renewing has 10% chance to duplicate when cast. This is kind of whatever, but we are going to be Rising Kick a ton, so that 6% is going to pay off a lot more because we are getting those resets of Rising Kick in AoE. Rising Mist. Rising Kick extends all HOTS. Okay, so now we have these Renewing Mists out, and they're going to be extended. I like Thunder Focus T. T empowers next to Rising Kicks. This is really fun to use, but again, this is actually more powerful on single target, again, because you do need to understand on AoE, these Rising Kicks are reset consistently with a very small rotation, so not as strong in AoE, but I do just like it because I am getting those reliable 2 kicks right off the bat, and in AoE and single target. Vacacious Vivification. Instantly vivify in 10 seconds duration. You guys know about that. Pretty good. Grace of the Crane. Increasing all healing taken by 8%. This is a little bit... I don't think people are recognizing how strong this is. The thing about this is because we're getting all these Renewing Mists out, if you're spreading this on 5 members of your team, every Vivify you do is going to be hitting all 5 of those units, right? And you guys can see a lot of these are talking about resetting, getting these Renewings out very quickly, right? Now, if you think about these instant Vivifies, you can actually put these on a rotation to cast it on yourself. Now, why do you cast Vivify on yourself? Because that huge, really strong Vivify is increased by 8% on yourself. And then I believe it's about 75% or 74%. It doesn't matter. Again, a little too nerdy right there. But 74% of this huge chunk that you hit, huge chunky spell, is getting increased even greater because it's cast on yourself. And then 74% of that value is spreading to your team, right? So I think Grace of the Crane actually has some really strong, unique abilities with these instant cast Vivifies because you can kind of hit and forget. This kind of goes into being that healer that just cares about DPS. That is like, I don't really even care what my team is looking like. I'm just going to go ahead and Vivify myself because I got a weak aura telling me that it's up for instant cast, and I'm just going to do it because I know it's going to heal the team. It's going to heal myself up, which may not be needed, but it's going to heal the team up, and I can do that every 10 seconds. And then it's like, boom, you get to the point, you get used to that. You get to the point where you will never have to even click these voodoos and be like, oh, let me click this, let me heal this person up. You just got this really sick rotation of you healing yourself. Okay. Things to possibly improve. So there is a talent swap that I would love to see. So if Misty Peaks could swap places with Secret Infusion, the Kick Weaving combo could get even spicier. So basically we can add another thing here, which is saying, hey, every time you rising kick, your versatility is increased by 10%. It's like, oh, hell yeah, I want that, but currently I can't get that. So that would be really good. And also Misty Peaks, really not that great. It's not a hot point for us. And then Ancient Teachings range, currently 20 yards. So tends to not hit ranged players, which is a little bit of a bummer. But that's kind of why we have our Cocoons. That's another one-button spell that we just kind of hit and forget. So that's what's great. So let me go ahead and show you guys my current builds on the beta. Oh, I'm glad I didn't get locked out. So this is kind of how I'm running it. I do go ahead and get the Grace of the Crane, so you might want to do a couple units differently from here. I find myself also wanting Paralysis. You can find going Disable and not using this spell to get through here a little bit quicker, but I do really value this Paralysis. Other things to talk about. Summon of the White Tiger, it's pretty good. It doesn't seem as good on beta because packs are dying pretty quickly, but if you do remember to use that spell often when it's off cooldown on big packs, it does become very valuable. Resonating Fist, very, very good. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about here. So on our playstyle, you're going to see this is my rotation. Basically, we're going to go down here. Spirit of the Crane assists with never caring about mana. I am going to go to Mist of Life because this is great, and this is going to basically open up the path to Ancient Teachings. Zen Pulse. I didn't talk about Zen Pulse. It's crappy. It feels so bad. We are playing a play style where we are just kicking and we are not caring about this bar here. I don't want to cast spells. That's just nobody wants to cast spells, right? You want to notice people are low and they'd be like, oh, okay, hopefully they get up with my kicks. That's kind of how we want to play this. So in Zen Pulse, that's kind of one of those buttons where you're just clicking on the tank and then it doesn't do much. It doesn't do much damage. It doesn't do much healing. It's poor. Even if this is tuned well, I don't like the playstyle, okay? So basically we're going down here. You can do Essence Font or Uplifting Spirits here. This is going to reduce your revival so you can use it more often. I don't use revival all that much actually. It's kind of like an oh crap button that isn't all that powerful even. So I do use Fawn of Life, which just gives initial ticks. But the thing about it is I really don't care about that. I just care about reducing Thunder Focus T because that's the powerhouse to my kick rotation. And it's a possibility to reduce that by 1 second, which is great. We're going to go ahead and pick up our Crane. And then I want to work my way down here to this Rapid Diffusion. We talked about this. Basically, our Rising Kicks are giving us mists, renewing mists, which is great for 6 seconds. Another thing to talk about, once my bird's up, we have to grab Ancient Teachings. And then I actually really want to go right to here, Thunder Focused, and navigate my way down here. So here's where I was talking about the switch, Misty Peaks. Renewing Mist, heal over time, has a 10% chance to proc Enveloping Mist for 2 seconds. Really don't care about that. I would rather it be Secret Infusion if these could be swapped right here. But that's it. But again, you guys, these talents are so much fun. I would say jump into it, look up the kit, change things yourself. You know, maybe you don't want these right here. Maybe you want to grab Eye of the Tiger, which I found is not that great. Or go down here. I don't really mess around with any of that. But that's it. You guys have so much fun. You guys try play a monk. Play a monk. Have fun with it. It is a blast. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take it easy, everybody. Peace out.